What's happening today is a celebration of poetry at the Magenta Theater, sponsored by Artstra, a nonprofit organization that supports the arts in Vancouver. This particular program is called Poetry Moves, and it moves because we are celebrating the poetry of 10 winning poets whose work will go on channel cards installed on our C-Tran buses, and they will travel the streets of Vancouver and Clark County for an entire year. And today, all 10 of those poets will be present to be presented their channel cards, as well as 3 featured poets that are very well known and skilled. And it's usually a packed house, so I think I can hear the music starting. So I probably need to get in there now because I've got to get behind that microphone. So let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I welcome you to this splendid celebration of poetry. Today, yes. Today we gather to honor the creative voices whose words now grace our city buses, transforming the daily commute into journeys filled with inspiration and reflection. The enduring partnership between C-Tran and Artstra has been instrumental in nurturing 14 vibrant seasons of Poetry Moves. This collaboration has transformed public transportation into a moving gallery of poetic expression, enriching the lives of countless riders. Artstra deeply appreciates C-Tran's unwavering support and commitment to promoting the arts within our community. Their dedication has enabled poetry to flourish in everyday spaces, bringing joy, reflection, and inspiration to all who ride. In an era where the hustle and bustle of life drowns out the subtleties of thought and feeling, poetry remains a beacon of human expression, reminding us of our shared humanity and the beauty that exists in the world around us. The works selected for display on our public buses represent the diverse tapestry of our community, and each poem is a testament to the power of language to move, challenge, and uplift. We're here to celebrate these remarkable works and to recognize the talented poets behind them. Their dedication to the craft and their willingness to share their innermost thoughts and emotion have enriched our lives and our city. Join me in appreciation of these extraordinary poets for their contributions to our cultural landscape. May their words inspire and resonate with all who encounter them. As the renowned poet William Wordsworth once said, "Fill your paper with the breathings of your heart." As the renowned, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to the Magenta Theater, whose support has been invaluable in making this celebration possible. They're so committed to promoting art and culture in our community, and that's truly commendable. I want to take a moment to recognize the Artstra Board. Sincere thanks and recognition for the invaluable contributions of the Artstra Board members, whose tireless efforts have made this celebration possible. Their dedication to fostering the arts in our community is really remarkable. A special acknowledgement goes to Elmo Shade, the director of Poetry Moves. His vision and leadership have guided this initiative to new heights this year. We're grateful to Kim Eisenhower, Doug Staley, Jean Lacrosse, Jennifer Williams. She's the director of Open Studios of Clark County. Jackie Woods, who directs the Creative Relief Program run by Artstra. Deborah Nagano, Martin Chetlin, Anna Cruz, and Russ Ford for their unwavering commitment and support. Their collective efforts have enriched our cultural landscape and ensured the success of Poetry Moves. Also, a very special thanks to Artstra's founding chair, Karen Madsen, and former chair and Poetry Moves director, Lorraine Zawadny. Could you all stand up, please? All the board. Thank you all for your dedication and passion. Your contributions are deeply appreciated. At this time, we get to hear from someone very special. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Anne McInerney-Ogle of Vancouver. Mayor Anne McInerney-Ogle was originally elected to Vancouver City Council in 2013. She has the distinguished honor of being the first woman to serve as mayor of Vancouver, beginning her tenure on January 1st, 2018. Throughout her time in office, she has led significant efforts in economic development, regional community relations, transportation, and has been a consistent and enthusiastic supporter of arts and culture. Mayor Anne.
Thank you, Michelle. People might know that I'm a retired math teacher, but there is that portion of math that people forget about, and it's the artistic side of math. Usually, when in doubt, they throw it all into geometry. And then when we start talking about tessellations and all of the art of math, you usually get a parent that just wants engineering work, and they said, well, every building has to have the beauty of art in it, no matter how structurally sound it is. We don't need a box. We need something beautiful. Ty Stober and I are happy to welcome you again to this wonderful opportunity. This is always a great time when it's cold, wet, miserable outside. You have an excuse that you don't do artwork or yard work. No more weed pulling. You come inside, and it's warm, it's comfortable, it's joyful, and that's what we need, especially at this time. And we so absolutely appreciate it. But you had organizers and sponsors and all sorts of folks that have been working on this, so we're so very excited to thank them. But it's the art and the arts that help Vancouver be more attractive. Yes, we can fill potholes, and we're pretty good at sidewalks and streets and lights and this, that, and everything else. But more and more individuals are looking at Vancouver for the art, the beauty. We would just put in a new sculpture, and Ty and I were there with Councillor Sarah Fox on the new Reveal sculpture up at the museum. And I had to laugh. It's rusting, and it's perfect because the color of the rust matches the building, the brick of the building. And if you stand just ever so carefully, you can line up the spine of the sculpture with the edge of the building, and it looks like it was pulled out to reveal the beauty and the power of the words that are inside of it. So, as we look at art, we also know that there's more than just one type of art, and it all seems to come together in Vancouver on the weekends with art festivals and movies on Friday nights, and the festivals at Esther Short Park and down on the river and out at Columbia Tech Center, and on and on and on, and events like this. So we're so thankful to have such a large partnership with so many of you. So on Monday night, we will have that proclamation that April is National Poetry Month. not one of my strengths, but I did practice it a little bit today. So I threw it out there on Facebook. Let's see what kind of response I get. Yeah. But we know that all poetry and all writing helps us deep think, helps us to kind of sit quietly, absorb it, reflect on it. And as we were talking about the bullfrog that we heard, listening is so very much an art anymore. So I'm looking forward to having that opportunity this afternoon. As we are listening to all of the different folks, you heard about C-Tran. It's been years, and riding the bus and seeing poetry up there was a great idea, so we're excited for that to continue. But let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and get going on this. Michelle, thank you so very much for chairing all of this and moving us forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ann. Okay. Next, I'd like to introduce Elmo, tell you a little bit more about the sort of maker of the event. I'm delighted to introduce Elmo. He's the Poetry Moves Director at Artstra. He currently facilitates mindfulness-based education for eMindful at Wonder Health. He holds an ACC coaching certificate from the International Coach Federation and a certified mindfulness teacher professional designation from the International Mindfulness Teachers Association. Elmo received his formal mindfulness training from esteemed institutions such as the Center for Mindfulness at UMass Medical Center, Vanderbilt Osher Center for Integrative Medicine, Duke Center for Integrative Medicine, Google's Search Inside Yourself Leadership Development Program, and the Institute of Mindful Leadership. But Elmo is also a prolific writer and poet. He is the author of several poetry collections, including Standing on One Leg, Poems of Love, Loss, and the Spaces in Between, Coffee Grinds, Poems and Stories for the Less Than Perfect Soul, A Glorious Poetic Rage, and The Dark Side of White Bread, Surviving Our Fathers, all published by Atmosphere Press. In addition to these practices, Elmo generously volunteers his time with Meals on Wheels in Washougal. His dedication to the arts and the community is evident in his role as the poetry director and an Artstra board member here in Vancouver. Let's welcome Elmo.
Thank you, Michelle. Well, there was one person earlier that Michelle failed to recognize. And so I need to do that before I begin, and that is Michelle Hanlon. As the Artstra chair, one of my mentors in my new role here is the Poetry Moves Director. So on behalf of the Artstra board, Michelle, thank you for your leadership, thank you for your vision, and most importantly, thank you for bringing the best snack to the board meeting. Thank you. I think it was the famous poet, 14th century poet Hafiz, that once said, the great religions are the ships, poets, the lifeboats. Every sane person I know has jumped overboard. So thank you for jumping overboard with us this afternoon. Poetry Moves is an Artstra program in collaboration with C-Tran. And we provide poetry on bus channel cards, which you will see a little later in our program. Each season, 10 poems are selected by a juror who is with us today, Robert Lashley, who will be reading in the second part of our program. And these poems are displayed for an entire season, October through September of the following year. This season, the 14th season, we began in 2016, and there were, I believe, 2 programs per year for a couple of years. But we've gone through 14 seasons now in 9 years. Next year will be our 10th anniversary. This year, more than 100 poems were submitted for consideration, with over 70 poets, and they were only 10 selected. So those folks that you'll hear from today, this is really a special time for them. And believe me, when I look at my submittable, there's lots of rejections, okay? Rejections all the way down the page. So that's a really nice recognition. The program actually began with one of our board members, Karen Matson, who's with us today. She was in New York City and apparently saw a program there called Poetry in Motion. It brought that idea back to Vancouver, to Artstra, and the rest is history. Later, Clark County Poet Laureate, who was the inaugural Poet Laureate in Clark County, Chris Luna, who's here with us today, and his partner, Tony, they were both instrumental in the success of the continuation, particularly in the first 2.5 years of the Poetry Moves program, and really connecting the Poetry Moves program with the Northwest community through their small press company, Printed Matter Vancouver. Also, Chris and Tony served as jurors selecting the winning poets from seasons 1 through seasons 5. And I know Tony is here. I know Chris is here. I know Karen's here. Could you stand and be recognized, please? Thank you for such just sweet, deep history. Today, Artstra celebrates its 14th season, having honored more than 140 poetry selections from various poets. Many are in the audience today. It is now my pleasure to introduce Chandra Washington, who is the Manager of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Organization Development for C-Tran, who has been an invaluable partner in the continued success of Poetry Moves, hopefully for years to come. Please welcome Chandra Washington.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to talk a little bit about Elmo for a moment. I heard about him long before I met him. Tell you about Chris. Heard about Chris before I met you. And what does that say to me? That tells me that we are a rich culture of people doing this work, and whatever this work means to you is really about what art is. And I keep meeting people in these spaces. Susan, you know you're next, right? You're next. I am meeting people in these spaces doing work that's really helping move this whole community forward. And what is the vision of Clark County? And what happens is this. Art is just this little light that shows up in these spaces where we connect with people. We're helping, as C-Tran, putting it on a bus. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Each and every one of you do it every day. With the things that you write, whether it's ever seen or not, you are putting it in a world in a way that makes a difference. So C-Tran thanks you for what you're doing. We really enjoy the fact that we're actually allowed to help be a vessel for that. So please come by and talk to us. We love it. But really, I want to thank each and every one of you for doing the work that you're doing and really understanding that we are trying to create a space where people want to feel that including and belonging kind of style. So thank you all, and I am so happy to be here yet again.
Thank you, Chandra. Thanks for being here, and thanks for everything C-Tran does for the program. And we had this idea maybe for the 15th season, Chandra, to have one of the buses parked out front. with all the Chandler cards on it, so at intermission people could actually experience that. So we'll keep that in the back pocket if you don't mind. I'd be remiss without making some comment about mindfulness because Michelle mentioned that I've spent about a third of my life teaching it. And so I'll just share with you my favorite mindfulness quote, and I think it serves well with what Mayor Ann said earlier. And the quote is, don't just do something, sit there. I'd like to introduce my right-hand person. I was fortunate to be asked to join the board last fall. Really excited about being a little more involved with the arts community in Vancouver, but I didn't really have a grip on what it took to pull something like this off. And it would have not happened without the person I'm about to introduce. He has been my right arm and mentor for the last 6 months. Derek Klein is a remarkable poet living here in the Pacific Northwest. His poetry has been featured in Broken Antler Magazine, the Salmon Creek Journal, and Snaggletooth Magazine, among others. This is Derek's second year as serving as Artstra's manager of Poetry Moves, which basically says that he just tells me what I need to do, which is fine with me. In the past 6 months, Derek and I have been collaborating, and I'm just so thankful that he and his wife, Madeline, are here with us today. Please welcome Derek Klein.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here, sincerely. Elmo, thank you for that introduction. I will tell you what to do anytime. Anytime. I'm going to say more later after the intermission, but right now, I just want to introduce our next guest. Christopher Diaz is a Chamorro writer, performer, and photographer from the island of Guam. He has been featured by NBC News, the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center, poetsandwriters.org, and more. He is a 2-time Grand Slam champion of Houston's team, Right About Now, which ranked 5th in the nation in 2018. And he won first place at the 2023 Bigfoot Regional Poetry Slam Festival with his Pacific Northwest team. I've had the pleasure of hearing Christopher read, and he is, without a doubt in my mind, a true artist. So please, without further ado, welcome Christopher Diaz.
We are gathered here today, and I am grateful for the gathering. Grateful for your clumsy, tired, and still trying eyes, the way you look for reasons to stay. When not all days are good days, but life is better with you in it, I admit. That sometimes I am looking for a sad and glorious avalanche. I am waiting on my disorders to collapse me in any coffee shop that helps the Hollywood angle make me look interesting. I try so hard to walk like living luggage packed too tightly, but I have a boring job and a roof that is yet to leak, and on my to-do list was returning a shirt to Target I knew would not fit, but brought home anyway. And years ago, I would have sat in stupid shame, but tonight I say be proud that you let shame speak, then asked it to take a seat. Proud to notice that how you do small things is how you do most things, and my mountains of regret all started with a step in the right direction for somebody else. I hold my wrists. like Dorothy's red shoes, and want to leave this earth so badly sometimes. But then I noticed I cut my fingernails too quickly yesterday. You must cut yours too, and maybe each time they go back in bad angles, everyone watches how their steps change direction, but not everyone notices how those steps can form a circle. Someone told someone else, who then told me we grieve in cycles. That you can walk the same street, but the sun will never feel the same. Another planet asked me my age, and y'all, I'm old enough now to have to pause and do the math and still not be quite sure. And this is how you know to trust me. Eventually, we all turn yellow, either in the belly or in the way we rise each morning. I move to find the remedy, then realize it is the moving that makes me whole again. We all know people we don't talk to anymore, can't talk to anymore, and I might be a tired engine, but I still bring someone joy. Sometimes I am the someone, other times I am the joy. I am still an acrobat with bad knees who does not regret the show each night. Each night, the audience are acrobats who love me back. Tell me of your mental gymnastics, of all the spells you tried on yourself that did not work, and I will tell you that a love language is still a language, that I look to words and they look right back at me. It is possible that you are a list of ingredients, but we're given all the wrong recipes, so try again with me right now. Every breath a brief history on how to be still and still be moving. The new rule is we will not explain ourselves, only share our itchy wrists that look for walls to carve on or into or out of, the bridges we chose to burn even though they brought us here. I ask if what I am feeling is flood, or if I am just used to everything rushing. Ask my avalanche why I hurried, where it was I wanted to be so badly back then, only to see the messages I missed, all the signs that said, here, you are nowhere else but here. How are we doing, Vancouver? Yeah? Yeah? I am feeling really true. My name is Christopher. I go by Christopher. I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Elmo. Thank you, Derek, for this honor and this invitation. I moved to Vancouver 3 years ago with my partner and our dogs. And one of the things I love about the PNW, on a long list of things, is how abundant the poetry community is out here. I remember coming to Ghost Town Poetry and meeting Christopher Luna and Morgan Page, and they celebrated 20 years in November, which is wild. Yes, yes. I remember learning about Lucas and Sarah at Birdhouse Books and had a feature at the First Friday. I met Armin, my Pacific Islander brother over here, such an ambassador to poetry. Elmo at the Camas Library, like it is thriving here, and I'm so grateful to be a part of their community. I do come from a performance background, so if you feel like snapping during my performance, you can. I first fell in love with the page and then grew to love the stage, and I do both now. So this next poem is titled, I Keep Looking for a Man I Want to Be When I Grow Up. Most men I know stay still boys. Boys looking for their fathers to tell them absolutely nothing with their words and one thing with their hands. You're getting bigger. Palm hovers at your head and in time climbs past his hip. You're getting broader. Fingers fixed at shoulder width, then widened, not quite wingspan, though you know to be a man you need to eat to reach the eagle. Never bluebird, never blue jay, never sparrow, never swallow, only throats known for stalking, never songs to signal safety. I was small, and when I blinked, my feathers found me, shaking leaf beneath my bed, begging hymns to hatch me bird from all my humming, asking God how to pray to stay a boy if these are men. My God never answered. My boy is still asking. My voice, the only wind I trust to shake the trees inside me. Okay, speaking of advocating for public transit, in honor of National Poetry Writing Month, where we're wildly trying to write 30 poems in 30 days, I want to share something I wrote a couple days ago. And the working title is How to Drive. Not how to feather or anvil the arch of your foot on the pedal, your combustion never fast enough. Not how to grip the weathered slick steering wheel that never tells the time, only that it's always slipping. Not how to check your rear view, then side view, then shadow over shoulder you swear will cue the curtains. Your mind sprouts eyes at the crown of your cowlick, then widens silent horror. Your swerving calls it curtains. You are half breath for blind spots. You rev with ifs and urge. This is how you drive. You 2-second stop at the 4-way intersection. Everyone has orders. All orders are the same. You are 10 and 2 allegiant. You are proud to clean your cage. You say safety. You say lawful. You send spears to the mother who bucked back her odyssey. Say wrong with your left eye. Shame with your right. Say, my father didn't have the time to teach me how to drive, but you watched how he turned the directions of his life. Saw his spit scream the window when the wind wasn't fast enough. Look at you now, hungry and honking at the old man lost, 5 below the limit and looking for his exit. Take a breath, turn around, go back to before you wore this vehicle for violence, before you opened the door to the garage, before you opened your mouth to lash sinners on the interstate, kneeling how you've knelt, merging last minute, trying to get on, trying to get over, asking you to let them in on their way and late, wherever they came from, wherever they're trying to go. Got 2 more poems. This next one is one that was hard for me to write. My writing mentor has been challenging me to confront the things that have been hard to talk about. And there's a saying among writers, I'm going to butcher this, someone can correct me at intermission, but it's something like, I go to prose when I know what I want to say, and I go to poetry when I'm trying to listen to what's being said inside of me. That's not the quote. It's probably much better than that, but that's what resonates with me, right? So I'm going to read a few facts as sort of an epigraph, preamble, and then you'll hear me introduce the poem. 6,949 miles away in the Pacific Ocean, the island of Guam, among other definitions, is considered an unincorporated territory that belongs to the United States. Citizens on Guam may serve in the U.S. military. Citizens on Guam are not permitted to vote in U.S. presidential elections. 1 in 8 adult Guamanians are U.S. military veterans, the highest rate of service, higher than any of the 50 states. Poem after A. Van Jordan. Leave. Definitions. Verb 1. Depart from permanently. At the age of 18, his father would leave the island and join the military to provide his future sons a life he never lived. Verb 2, allow to remain. One might think to serve this country, you must leave behind the one you came from. This is mandatory. This is impossible. Noun 1, permission, authorized absence from duty each time I took leave. It became more difficult for me to return and put my uniform back on. Last and lesser known definition. Verb 3, of a plant, to put out new leaves. He was obsessed with how trees leaved in spring, the death their branches wore in winter, their breath that birthed a brand new cycle. What is a season? My 2 older brothers followed my father's footsteps, and no recruiter had to convince me to fall in line, to not fall far from the tree. Fall in is the command given, to gather a group of service members into formation. I joined in the fall after graduating college. What was I thinking? I wasn't. My life was leaving me. All my life was leaving. One temporary best friend for another new neighbor. 1 bedroom overseas for a state without seasons. Sometimes I loved it. I could outrun lonely. By the time I had to decide, my feet were fluent in acquiesce, fall in, pack up, move out. This is the branch your brothers joined. These are the roots your father replanted. I left myself the day I joined, then left the military to get him back. My dad served for 31 years. My oldest brother served for 22. My second oldest for 10, and I served for 6. This last poem deals with the picture that you see over here, and that is Harper. And exactly 5 months ago, she died. And it's hard to say that word, but I'm trying to be accepting of that. So if you have pets, especially if you're grieving any of your pets, this is for you. And it's been such an honor and a pleasure. And I would love to chat with anyone at intermission. And I can't wait to hear the 9 poets after, and Robert to close us out. Reasons my dogs follow me everywhere I go. Because I feed them, give them water, and sometimes I have a fistful of roast beef, melted Munster, and Ray's sweet barbecue sauce dripping between 2 pillows of the brioche we only buy when it's on sale. And why would I eat so much in this moment if it didn't also mean we might see a few more moons before we see another kill? Drop a piece, my soldiers say. You're gonna need us for the hunt. They follow me to keep me safe, because out back our neighbor is raining a week's worth of Bud Light cans into the deep blue belly of their recycling bin, and the clanging conjures a memory from the marrow in their spines, a time where each of them learned there is some violence you cannot shake. So it's best not to be alone when the thunder comes back. They trail me even if they're trembling too. My dogs follow me because my shadow does. Because they sense how in winter it grows longer, reaches deeper, and what kind of kin leaves their loved ones with demons? What if that darkness breaks in and eats all of our cheese? Or slips through the window to snatch the futures beneath our pillows? Or steal the versions of myself I haven't tried on yet? What then of the redwood I could have grown into? Or the sparrows in my lungs who haven't sung in warmer weather? My dogs know what it feels like to feel like you've dreamt your whole life away. To kick your hind legs and wake in the same spot, to wait for another face to pass your cage in the pound, but bless the concrete no less, because at least it's not an alley or a broomstick or the backhand of someone who never learned to name the animal inside themselves. They follow when they feel the earth of me quake. When I can't fend off the strange man in the bathroom who looks like me but can't be me, the worst kind of mailman toting messages that keeps my therapist in business. They follow me because I lose myself and they know our way back home, because I'm liable to be dragged by the leash of a laptop, a 9-to-5 that makes me miss a whole summer. Not again, they say. There are indigo hydrangeas that you have to come see. We found a stick that fits the width of the porch door perfectly. They have seen me stumble back into bad dog behavior, chewing on regret until my gums run red, digging the same holes that depression left inside of me, and nothing snaps you back to the present like a dog who might piss everything if we don't get outside of your head. I leave the house for eggs and olive oil, or to dunk in the washougal, or pace the aisles of Powell's without buying a single book. And when I come home to their wagging wet blur and watch their blessed shedding cling to my shirt, I know they follow me to remind me I'll never be alone. Thanks so much, y'all.
So Christopher just answered the question, was it worth me coming today? Christopher, thank you so much. Yes. Well, I have the pleasure now to introduce our 4th Clark County Poet Laureate, Susan Dingle. Susan encourages emerging, established, and future poets to discover their voice. She received an MA in creative Writing from the University of Illinois, Chicago. Currently is in an MFA program in poetry at Pacific University. Susan's been writing, publishing poetry since the 70s. Her 2020 first chapbook, Parting Gifts, won honorable mention and publication by Local Gems in New York. And her second chapbook, In Pilgrim Drag, was published by Finishing Line Press in Kentucky. Susan is the co-host of Poetry Street Pacific Northwest, a poetry open mic that meets monthly at the Camas Library. And Susan Dingle is one of my dear friends. Please welcome our Clark County Poet Laureate, Susan Dingle.
Thank you. Here's what Elmo didn't say. Elmo actually started the open mic that's now Poetry Street PNW. He actually started it in the pandemic and kept it going through those dark days. And I just want to acknowledge that without Elmo, we wouldn't have it. Being Clark County Poet Laureate is truly one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had in my life, as I know you will appreciate, because right now I have to follow Chris Diaz, okay, is what I'm saying. So have mercy. My brother, beautiful work, just freaking awesome. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be in Clark County at this time. And I know probably some of you were there yesterday at Esther Short. Anybody here at Esther Short yesterday? Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I wanted to start with reading a poem that I just finished pasting together today. This is a found poem, and it's called Inside the Times. It is all taken from headlines from the March 18th, 2025 New York Times, and the original is out there in the lobby all taped together. So this is Inside the Times. How far gone are we? The targeted destruction of free thought. COVID's deadliest effect took 5 years to appear. Public health may have been the pandemic's worst casualty. The devastating toll of Musk's aid cuts, Trump laid waste to a great American city. Wildfire, tornadoes, and powerful winds ravage multiple states. Deadly system continues destructive march across South and Midwest. Feeling the prevailing winds, corporations shiver and flinch. Halting humanitarian support is resulting in sickness, starvation, and death. A kingdom's deadly trade, the powerful profit off the lives of maids in Saudi Arabia. DC is becoming another hollowed-out company town. A law firm decided to fold instead of fight. A typology of constitutional crises and constitutional rot, from unconstitutional to anti-constitutional. How many mountains do we need named McKinley? Upstart Democrats' anger rises over old guards' grip on party. A chilling scream, then the discovery of 53 dead and dying migrants. Colleges are under attack. They can fight back. America's allies are shaken, and now they're taking action. Who will defend the Constitution's defenders? The generation that got us to this point does not have the skills or stomach to get us to the next point. Pope Francis projects a lonely moral voice. An executive order notwithstanding, Denali will always be Denali. in a cozy apartment in West Harlem, a well-known chef builds a community. I wrote a poem some time ago that seems appropriate in this moment. It's called In Pilgrim Drag, and I'll just tell you that in Provincetown rather, there's an annual celebration in which people write the names of AIDS victims on ribbons, and then the ribbons are hung from are festooned across the stage for a presentation honoring all those who have died of AIDS. And so this is what inspired me. In Pilgrim Drag. Ribbons in rainbow colors strung between trees, handwritten messages for those who died of AIDS. Now raised above the stage, a shimmery festoon for a tall drag queen in towering silver crown and gloves, who gestures a sign of peace as a town crier in Pilgrim Drag belts out, "I know a land where dreams are born." In counterpoint to her, "Someday I'll wish upon a star." Heroes of the culture war, we're dragged to victory. Though transgender soldiers are prohibited from service, we stand together, disenfranchised, Muslims, children of the undocumented, those whose taxes rise as their health care diminishes, Black people disproportionately slain by police, people of color with whom we mark these festivities of grief. Sometimes, well, all the time, I feel like I have a job to show up and say what seems very obvious. I'd like to share a poem that I read 2 weeks ago. There was a very sweet and touching event at the Cascades Park Community Library honoring, it was honoring the homecoming of Vietnam veterans. And I read this there, and I just felt like veterans are also being disproportionately affected by what's going on, and so let's remember them. This is called Poem in 7 Pieces Along a Traveling Wall. And just as a note, the wall in the memorial in Washington, D.C. is duplicated in a reduced version, a traveling wall that literally goes to different states for memorial events. I saw the wall, and I was moved to write this. And then I read this poem at another event honoring veterans, which was at Calverton National Cemetery in June 2012. A poem honoring, it's called The Poem in 7 Pieces Along a Traveling Wall. A poem honoring the Vietnam dead, useless as the Lord's Prayer engraved upon the head of a pin, flames soaring above the temples into a thick orange sky, robes of bodhisattvas, a dragon breathing fire. Any event honoring soldiers always contains them. Snapshots in the traveling exhibit, forks and plates stored in a rifle box, jokes you told, clothes you wore that did not come home, as Agent Orange scattered you, whether you never left the rice paddy or still bore your artillery into the new millennium, wearing a green satin jacket, carrying a flag in front of this wall that goes on forever. Black granite with rows of names on it. Some you recognize this October night. Wreaths and candlelights, a muddy garden whose new sod holds our footprints. Now 2/3 of you are gone, and few now alive in Vietnam are old enough to remember the war, except for what remains beneath the surface: landmines, dioxin, the toxins, the dead. What if healing meant not blaming anyone, but simply being with what you live with? The stench of burning flesh, that dragon of fire breathing out throughout the land, accepting as unspeakable the horrors you have witnessed, leaving as survivors only this miracle: a child, a grave, a lotus that still might open, and no name will be forgotten, even those we do not know. Dear frozen captive, sit with me a while. I will engrave your name on the head of a pin, a souvenir. Did you hear? A purple heart is buried in this wall somewhere, still beating. In this wall that will be packed up and carried from state to state, this traveling wall of names, memorial for a war that never ended. The war consumed our generation, even if we did not go there. I look at the wall and would not be surprised to see my name. I was a statistic of this generation. During blackouts under a TV set at the college bar, as those names scrolled by, night after night, all I did was drink and smoke, and ash burning, listening to reports of casualties, those missing in action, prisoners of war. College kids choose blackouts, not quite living, not quite dead, nonviolent resistance. There is just so much one can never say. Look at me. My eyes are blind from crying tears I cannot feel. Do not comfort me. I live within this wall, a purple heart still waiting for a generation to sit beside this wall and say nothing. Just be here. Breathe beside the names along the traveling wall. Thank you. I just have to share with you that I'm also a grandmother and I have grandchildren, so it's not, I'm not just a prophet of our time. This is my granddaughter's Valentine. My granddaughter, in a bright pink fluffy jacket, a pink poof on her headband, wears short afro today. How adorable, you say, but it's not like that. She's African, we're white, just doing the best we can. I hold the bag of treats and valentines I told her mom I'd help with, but my granddaughter turns on every light and the ceiling fan, eats barbecue chips at the counter, then strums a ukulele painted orange and black, whose strings go plink and plunk, and asks if she can walk outside in the yard in the rain, I ask. And she says yes. So I give her my special umbrella with stripes and faces she calls a machine when it clicks open with thick metal spines I never saw as a machine before. A little brown girl under her machine visiting the trees. Later, it's time to come back inside. I read the names of classmates from the list and ask which of 2 Valentines they'd like, what color to sign her name. Purple, she says, at the piano now, sounding out the keys. No Valentines, but chords. She's playing chords today. Thank you. As Elmo knows, I am very religiously respectful of the time. Do I have time to read one more poem? Yes. Okay, thank you. This is called Reunion, and it begins with a quote from A.A. Milne, the book When We Were Very Young. James said to his mother, "Mother," he said he, "you must not go down to the end of the town if you don't go down with me. Because I couldn't comfort you, I ran away as far as the east is from the west. I took a fishing pole, a frying pan, and a pound of chamomile flowers, 3,000 miles away the first day, down by the lifeguard stand. A boy who looks like you looks at me like he knows I can never leave you, even if I run down to the end of the town, spilling chamomile flowers out like rain until God hits me with the fishing pole, the frying pan floats away, and I go home on the red eye, but you don't remember me. Lost or stolen or strayed, James Morrison Mothers hasn't been seen in days. Missing as I was when I left you with your dad in Brooklyn. Missing as when I missed you, when I see you missing. I'm a widow now. You're grown, with a family. You invite me to live nearby. You find a house down the street, so I move cross country. We haven't lived this close since you were 2. In a blizzard, I text you my charger died. Do you have a spare? You say, so I should brave the tundra to get you a charger, eh? I say, nothing urgent in this blizzard. No, don't brave the tundra. But now you're at the door, my son, holding a charger in your gloved hand.
So, Susan, you made the comment about having to follow Christopher. Just bear in mind that now we have 10 poets that have to follow you. Right? We are coming to the close of the first half of our program. We will be taking a 15-minute intermission, which will probably take us to about 2:15 or so. So watch your watches and make sure you're back here for the presentation of the 9 winning poets. I'd like to introduce our musical guest that entertained us as we were walking in and will be playing during intermission. To my left, Kevin Hanlon is a composer, vocalist, and guitarist. He's played underground rock music, and he had me at rock for MC5 and Alice Cooper. He's have won numerous awards, including performances with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, the Brooklyn Philharmonic, the premiere of the Canton Symphony with Doc Severinsen, touring nationally with the Celtic rock band Need Fire as guitar and vocalist. And he is currently recording original songs at Greenlight Studio in Vancouver. Please give it up for our musical guest, Kevin Hanlon. See you in 15.
There's a bridge we're bound to cross, knowing the trouble that stands in our way. Follow that river, arms interlocked. There is a place where possibly of the distance to that common shore, enduring resistance, flows falling like rain, like the lovers who will come after the Susan brothers. We march in your name, Robert Johnson toss. This goal is attained. shades of gray.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you. Once again, I am Derek Klein, and I am sincerely grateful for everyone in attendance of this event. Whether you are reading on stage or not, you have come out in support of the poetic form, the written and the spoken word. All of you, by coming to this celebration, have shown that you appreciate poetry and freedom of expression. So I will not lecture you on the value of such things in the face of the world's ills today. You understand this, and that's why you're here. So please join me in welcoming the poets selected for Season 14 of Poetry Moves. Their work was selected by our wonderful juror, Robert Lashley. Among over 100 submissions, as Elmo said earlier. And I would like to point out and thank a thoughtful suggestion from Anand Talker, and that caused this to be the first season of Poetry Moves for which the submissions were juried completely anonymously. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Without further ado, we will now introduce the Season 14 poets to the stage one by one to recite their poems. And I'll give Elmo some time to come to the stage. Our first poet from Portland, Oregon is Jennifer Perrine.
Hi, y'all. It's such a delight to be here with everybody and to know that all of our poems have been traveling around town. The poem that's on my channel card is part of a series in 2024 as part of a mindfulness practice. I wrote a tanka almost every day about something that I noticed. A tanka, if you're not familiar, it's sort of like a haiku. It's got that syllable form, but instead of 5, 7, 5, it's 5, 7, 5, 7, 7. So there's a little more room to play. And I also, I was trying to take myself out of my poetry a little bit. So my first name is Jennifer, so I did not use any J's, E's, N's, I's, F's, or R's in my poems, which made it way harder. So this is the poem, the tanka I wrote on January 6, 2024, that I called Sauvie Island Tanka. A hawk stops to soak up 2 o'clock's gold, almost looks dozy, so calm, but swoops to ambush a coot, squawks atop a swampy splash.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was lovely. For your next poet, you're going to hear from another Portland poet named Amy Schutzer. Please welcome her.
Thank you so much for having me here, and very grateful to be part of this. Very exciting to be on the bus. The name of my poem is Oh Daisies. Oh Daisies. Darling, those days the rain came unbidden, then hurriedly left, and the sun in a steamy bloom plumped the unfurling daisies. Oh daisies, the hillsides in love with you, love a deluge, and what can I do but pluck a few petals and combust in the thought of you?
Thank you, Amy. All right. Our next poet, who, if you've ever been to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, you may have heard before, is from Vancouver. His name is Brandon Custy. Please welcome him.
Just want to get it right. Okay. So yeah, I'm really honored to be honored as part of Poetry Moves. It was my first published poem ever. So yeah. I still can't really believe it. Anyways, I think I have it memorized, so I'm gonna do it. How many little illnesses will I carry? How many bottles of pills to take? To feel, think, look, be okay enough. I drink water and wonder when these anchors, draped around my neck, will become the wings I was promised.
Thank you, Brandon. Everybody's going to want this in a different place, and feel free to move it. All right. Next, we're going to hear from another poet from right here in Vancouver, Albert Haley. Please welcome him to the stage.
Yeah, thanks to Derek, too, for publicizing this at our Ghost Town Poetry Open Mics, which happen on the second Thursday each month here at Art at the Cave, just around the corner. And I'm really excited to have this moving moment for my poetry. It's unusual for me to be able to remember when I wrote a particular poem, because I write quite a few, but I remember it was end of June 2023, just a few months after I said goodbye to 25 years of living in Texas. And I was on the porch in the morning at an Airbnb in Bellingham, where my wife and I thought maybe this would be a good place to live now that we've sold the house back there and left for good. And no, we were moved on to Vancouver, but the first draft of Gravel, which then became more compacted, started there in Bellingham. Ode to Gravel. Love your crush underfoot as I walk along a garden path, or the way you overlay and lace the bottom of that clear mountain stream. On playgrounds of my youth too, where you caught in shoe soles as I went lazy legs on the swing. Your basic, unmoved silence until you speak up in the low, gravelly voice I always recognize.
Thank you, Albert. And now we're going to hear from a talented poet from Washougal, C.A. Corbell. Please welcome him to the stage.
All right, thanks to Robert and Derek and Elmo and Artstra for this event. It's really great. It's great to be a part of it. I want to riff a little bit about the wonderful anecdote from Hafiz about the religions being the great ships and poets building lifeboats. But I like to think about all the different kinds of vessels that we build, whether they're like jet skis or experimental submarines or all that stuff. Barges, rafts, but there are also like these wonderful ancient ships that were scuttled, maybe for no reason, and that relates to my poem. I saw the masts of one of these ancient ships coming up as marble columns on the side of Mount Parnassus, and that's where this poem was written. It's the Temple of Delphi, Temple of Apollo, on summer solstice last year. This is a present from Apollo. When the sun shines on your skin, on the waves, on the green leaf, it is always now, never tomorrow, never yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you. Another Ghost Town poet will be taking the stage. He is residing in Ridgefield, but he's here today, Joe Polton. Please welcome him to the stage.
Lights are really bright. I have zero performance experience other than Ghost Town and the one time I played a jackass in a donkey costume. But I'd like to thank my mother for being here, the first time hearing me read at a microphone. And thank you all for being here as well. So this poem was written after watching my son throw rocks into Gee Creek at Abrams Park. So it seems fitting that it's now floating around in the transit system somewhere. Okay. A creek flows while memory knits a bed. A child tosses rocks to the stream ahead. A chirping bird sings a song of this land. A breeze's melody of clouds above bend. To the ripples of history to mend. Cultural currents upend. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And now, another Portland poet, Daphne Clifton. Please welcome her.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be among all of you. My poem is dedicated to my hummingbirds. I have a very quiet voice. Closer, like this? Okay. Reverie. This is dedicated to my hummingbirds. Reverie. If you're in reverie and a hummingbird whispers your name, don't look up. If he had whiskers, they'd tickle your ear. He's that close. And his silvery wing beats taste of wild ginger, and his song is made of lavender and sage. If he whispers your name again, listen. He's telling you his story.
Thank you so much, Daphne. Now, this, I just want to be sure, the next poem is by Vancouverite, Stephanie Spencer. I did not see Stephanie. Stephanie, are you here? I'm going to take that as a no. So I'm going to read this for her so you all can hear it. And then I have someone else to introduce. By Stephanie Spencer, Hua Hin Morning. Birds in sing-song chats, flitting through gardenia trees, perfuming the air. Sun easing through clouds, waves murmuring over sand, the sounds of silence. That was Stephanie Spencer. Now, we didn't plan this, and the submissions were anonymous, but our next reader is a man from Vancouver, a man very dear to my heart, Elmo Shade.
And a deep bow to Robert for your recognition, sir. Thank you very much. Midnight in Montgomery. The cafe sign read, "Open for whites only." We would wait 2 decades before breaking into a bohemian tribal dance, wear real Yama mask, and remembering Rosa in 1943, re-entering the bus after she had paid her full fare. That would be years before Blackbird sang with broken wings.
Thank you, Elmo. And I'm so glad that was chosen to be on the bus. And I'm so glad all of them were chosen. And now I have the very special honor of flipping through my papers, but then an even better honor of introducing our juror for this season, an incredible poet, Robert Lashley. And what can I possibly say about Robert Lashley? He, as I said, is this season's juror. He's an impeccably talented writer and overall incredible individual. The first time I ever met him was at his second featured reading at Ghost Town Open Mic. That is an experience of poetry I will never, ever forget. You are all very fortunate to have a similar experience today, and now I will read Robert's bio, although his work will speak for itself. Robert Lashley was a 2016 Jack Straw Fellow, Artist Trust Fellow, and a nominee for a Stranger Genius Award. His books include Green River Valley from Blue Cactus Press, Up South by Small Doggies Press, and The Homeboy Songs, also Small Doggies Press. His poetry has appeared in the Seattle Review of Books, Nailed, Poetry Northwest, McSweeney's, and the Cascadia Review, and recently, the Cascadia Field Guide, which has been on the bestseller list for 40 weeks. In 2019, Entropy Magazine named The Homeboy Songs one of the 25 essential books to come out of Seattle, and we are so honored to welcome Robert Lashley.
I'm going to read you 3 poems and then give you just words of thanks to all of you and words of encouragement, and then I'm going to read my contribution. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, us poets, for your lovely and excellent work. I'm going to read the 3 poems. This first poem I'm going to read is called Song of the Triple OG Bird Rescue Man. Blood is the color that mixes late September. It tints the concrete of a late sunset mass. It makes a mass of brothers and blackbirds. The OG in white will take them. It was on the wings of those beat and broken migrations, those caught up in wounds and rickety structures, those lost in aromas, poisons, and intoxicants elusive until they couldn't breathe. The OG in white will bring them home. Elusive is the errant gangster disciple as he washes his pavement of red. Elusive, his second act was body bags in church with invisible chimes. Elusive, his yellow tapes fluttering in the dust, in dust to dust, coloring everything around it. Lord, I'll go sweeping through the city where my hood brothers have gone before. The old man claps, and cleaner particles become a set of flying nightbirds. The old man claps, and ruins of a playground become neither ruins nor a playground. The arc of the busted jungle gym lifts and resheaths their pipe swords, lifts every rock that interacts with his ash as the swing set trains stop their hanging. At dusk, homegoings are everywhere. Agony moves through Anglican storefronts. Agony lies still in the gravel. Dope boys barely make their stops. Dope fiends run to the water. At dusk, the OG finds place after place to give rosaries and proper burials. I will stand someday by the river. Won't be back on this block no more. The OG in white will take them. The OG in white will bring them home. Thank you. Next poem. Sometimes you have to be honest about the world as it is. Sometimes you have to be honest about the past, and sometimes you can love your neighborhood, but you can't glamorize it all the time. But you can still love your neighborhood. This is a way of that. This poem is called Soft Boy Barbershop Suicide Blues. A boy's first death is when men rob him of color. The first snap from creation, in a chair, in a line. The men remake him and make him dream of the river. Our highlights are snapped in order. He trembles. The abyss becomes a buzz cut, a smack to his spine. A boy's first death is when men rob him of color. The men surround him, prod him, flash out their temper, thrust a mask upon him in terms and in time. The men remake him, make him dream of the river. They prod and they chant, Am I my brother's keeper? Yet the kept cattle boy is piecemeal and twine. The boy's first death is when men rob him of color. And then the kings are happy, finished, over. The blank-slated boy, their drum circle shrine. The men have remade him, made him dream of the river. In this potter's house, there one God eats the sparrow. In this potter house, Sabbath is their blood on the vine. The boy's first death is when men rob him of color. The men have remade him and made him dream of the river. Thank you. This poem is called Value Village Love Poem. Old jackets don't fit, love, but did they ever? Insignias and hats fade in the cycles of discount trend racks. Jerseys and Spanx contract arbitrarily and scarce hollow in the cleat lights without the heads that gave them meaning. Age and price may dictate our shape, but wherever you are is the boulevard. Let me adorn you a crown of price-check rosaries. Let my love be the alms that never signal for without you hoop earrings or metal. Extensions just threads away from their orbit, away from their center and star. Let them price to infinity our posters and memories. So splice the hood to the meridians of invisibility, and to the meridians of invisibility. In my arms, you are never gone. My dear roundaway girl, dance with me by the sail colors. Time may erase all style to memory, but the intercom is playing our song. Thank you. Thank you. I knew I was going to love it here. I lost my last auntie last month, Joan Johnson. And she was very integral to Tacoma scenes. She worked in the military, and then would be very integral to open mics, and she was very integral to me. She gave me classical black home training and guidance as to how to study and be the best artist that I could be, one of many people. And I'm still kind of reeling because, like, we had her passing in a lot of the arts community. They had attention, like, some people got really famous and super famous, and they were really resentful. A lot of the people at Ma's funeral were really resentful that they weren't the ones to become famous. And the community that I had loved had changed. And had changed in ways that could just break my heart, especially in the idea of a funeral, because most of y'all, I hope you never, if you ever been to a bad funeral, I hope you never go through one. But I wanted to tell you that it's a good vibe here. This way you reach across cultures and class and gender and race, and don't lose that. There's a lot of places that have lost that. A lot of places that have lost that in the Northwest. The thing that what I learned from tour last year was that, number one, there's so many places in America that are wonderful. And the second thing that I learned was that there are people in America that consider the Northwest the enemy, and I can't tell them that they're wrong. And I want places in the Northwest to be better. I'll be blunt. I want Portland to be better. I want Seattle to be better. I want Tacoma to be better. I don't want people to look me sideways when they find out that I'm from here. But but what I want you all to do is just to keep being yourselves, and just to try to be as good as you good. Try to be just keep this one day at a time. And this and one more note before I leave and read this. My one is that if you like what my only poll I can say is that this is sold out of its fifth printing. So we have about 4 left, but we do have about 10 of my novel, which was a finalist for a Washington State Book Award and was considered among Book Circle as one of their favorite, which was Ingram's publishing subsidiary, as one of their 10 favorite, one of their 10 favorite black fiction titles in the last 10 years, and one of their 35 favorite titles, period. So if you want to help out with some with the train snack budget, I'll be out front. But now I will read this, my contribution to your fine work. Cold Spring Jack on the concrete. The boys on Hillside are to become thugs, and the old man has his bottle. They will their young and unsteady legs to perform their rite and ritual. They push and claim this is their spot. They push and brag of the loot they got, as he says, I was you once. Thank you all.
Well, we are coming to the close of our celebration, and before I invite Michelle back up to offer some really special recognitions, I would like to recognize one additional person who is responsible for our beautiful bouquet back here, and that is my better half, Kathy Thurber. Would you stand, Kathy? And please welcome back Michelle Hanlon.
Don't be afraid. I'm just getting my thanks in front of me because I want to make sure I remember everybody. I just wanted to extend with heartfelt gratitude thanks to the individuals and organizations who have made this day a success. Firstly, our deep appreciation goes to the Magenta Theater, Caleb Bourgeois as Managing Director and Angela Wall, Facilities Manager. Your commitment to the arts and your invaluable support have really helped us to create this unforgettable celebration. You don't have to. Also, where would we be without C-Tran? Particularly Rhonda Peck and Chandra Washington. Special thanks to Mayor Ann, along with council members Ty Stober and Sarah Fox. Your dedication to fostering a vibrant community and artistic landscape in the city is so valuable. We're grateful to Robert Lashley, our season 14 adjudicator, for your insightful contributions and your commitment to the art of poetry. Susan Dingle, your contributions have and continue to enrich our community. Thank you for being part of this. Thanks to our past Clark County Poet Laureates, Christopher Luna, Gwendolyn Morgan, and Armin Tolentino. You laid the groundwork for future generations of poets. We also celebrate the Clark County Arts Commission for their stewardship of the Poet Laureate program. Just a few more important thanks. Lorraine Zawadny, your leadership as past Artstra chair and Poetry Moves director has really defined this program and helped us move on to new heights, so thank you. Thanks, Kevin Hanlon, for bringing your music to our celebration. Thank you to the Magenta Light and Sound engineer, Wayne Simons, for lending your valuable expertise. Also thanks to our videographers, Angela Cochran and Tony Evans, for recording and making this day permanent. Thank you. Season 14 poets, your words have touched our hearts and minds, and we're grateful to your contributions to our cultural tapestry. Thank you. And then finally, everybody who's here and supporting this event, thank you for coming out and making this day honoring poetry so special. Thank you. So everyone's support has been pivotal in making Poetry Moves kind of a beacon of artistic expression in our community. There's nothing else like it, I think, out here in our community. May the spirit of poetry continue to inspire and uplift us. If you feel moved, here we go. If you feel moved by the power of poetry and would like to contribute to the continuation of our program to ensure its future, we invite you to make a donation in the lobby or through Artstra's website, or you can come speak to me or any of our board members afterwards if you care to contribute. We love having you here regardless, so thank you. Your generosity in being here and being part of this community helps us just expand and support this initiative to spread poetry in the community. So thank you for being here. Elmo?
And so at this time, I would love to extend the invitation to all those poets for season 14 and the guest poets who blessed us with their talents to join me on stage for a little photo opportunity. And for the rest of everyone, again, thank you. Be well, stay safe, and we'll see you for season 15.